You combine the issue of the refugee crisis with the issue of genders, and I thought this was very intriguing, very unique. No one else is doing this, but as our genders are being challenged in the West, you seem to think that was stopping countries defending themselves from invasions.
I mean, we have a totally confusion of values, and it means that then you lose your identity. You don't know who you are anymore. And I think the whole gender movement is about, dissolving identity. And that's very dangerous for a society. When you dissolve people's identity, they don't even know if they are a man or a woman anymore. So all structures are broken down. And it makes a society very vulnerable. And especially in this situation where we have a lot of foreigners who are very, they think in a very traditional way. And we have no spiritual stamina anymore, because that we have lost it. And I think, like I'm trying to say, whenever I'm talking about those issues, that it all comes from the fact that Europe has left its Christian roots. I am a theologian before I became a journalist. So I studied theology for a lot of years. And I'm also a believer. I'm a Catholic. And I just see the consequences now of, Europe has really nothing. Europe is very empty when it has emptied itself of its Christian foundations. There is nothing. The whole postmodern project is built on a kind of Christian heritage. And as long as this heritage was still intact, you could sort of, freak out and do things that were, in a kind of opposition, rebellion against Christianity, which the postmodern project is all about, to break down everything God has said, everything, the order, even the natural law is being broken. So after some decades, this heritage is really getting kind of eroded. And then suddenly there is nothing left. And then we see that the values we thought we could build a new democracy, a new society on, is so extremely weak. And when we are invaded by this Islamic culture, we have nothing to defend ourselves with. And because that those values were built on a kind of construction, a kind of lie, everything is just collapsing now.
Do you feel that the disintegration of Christianity in the West is orchestrated? Is it happening by plan? Is there a conspiracy to do it? Is there a secretive elite that is waging a war on Christianity? Or has it just somehow fallen by the wayside in our consumer society?
I think it's very important to understand that today you cannot understand what's happening on the geopolitical level if you don't understand the spiritual level or the spiritual perspective. Because the way I see what's going on in the world today is not so much a geopolitical or political conflict, it's a spiritual battle. And many people today are not able to see that because they have lost their faith. They are not being, I have a lot of friends who never talk to their parents about God. They have absolutely no spiritual education. It means they have no kind of tool to see the world like that. But I see that there is a lot of spiritual forces now behind our politicians, which are even controlling our politicians. And you see, there is a worldwide persecutions of Christians, and even in Europe, where we are psychologically persecuted. And it means that there is a war, a global war on Christians, which has never, ever been so bad and so terrible as it is right now in history. Even during the Roman Empire, this was nothing according to, compared to what's happening today. And I think it's not a coincidence. And in the West, everything is about breaking down the order of God, God's word. We're going to completely renounce it, deny it, being in a kind of rebellion against it. So we even want to change our sex. We don't even want to obey the natural order anymore. It has never happened before in human history, on this kind of scale as it is happening today. It means that there is a huge anti-Christian agenda all over the world. And the way I see it, at least here from Europe, that the liberal democracy, secular humanism and radical Islam has made a kind of unholy alliance to completely wipe out Christians from all over the world. And they're actually helping each other. It looks like they're enemies and they're in this kind of war or confrontation. But in reality, they're helping each other to destroy Christian culture everywhere. And this is what we're seeing now in Europe as well.